Intro. The Gospel, according to Narcissus. Let's be real. Some people don't worship God. They worship themselves with a Jesus sticker slapped on top. They strut into church like it's their personal stage. Bible in one hand, ego in the other, and act like God himself needs their approval before he can love you. These are the Christian narcissists, the Bible bullies, the pulpit predators, the self-appointed prophets of guilt, shame, and control. They'll quote scripture like a lawyer on steroids, twist it tighter than a pretzel, and then use it to smack you over the head until you feel 2 inches tall. And here's the shocker. People believe them. Whole churches get trapped under their thumb. They convince you God is angry, impossible to please, and constantly disappointed. But here's the truth. That isn't God. That's just a holy mask covering a toxic ego. Because the real God, the God Jesus showed us, he isn't a control freak. He isn't keeping a sin scoreboard in the sky. He isn't waiting to zap you with lightning for not saying a 3-hour prayer before bedtime. No, he's a God of love, of grace, of freedom. So buckle up. This isn't Sunday school flannel graph. This is the down and dirty, break the chains, laugh out loud, and sometimes jaw-dropping truth about spotting Christian narcissists and discovering the God who is nothing like them. Chapter 1. Christian Narcissists. Christian narcissists are a special breed. They're the kind of folks who can make a prayer meeting feel like a press conference. They walk into church like God is their personal bodyguard, and the rest of us are lucky just to breathe the same sanctified air. You've seen them. They don't just read the Bible, they weaponize it. Every verse is a bullet, every sermon a chance to show off, every conversation a stage where somehow the spotlight always comes back to them. If Jesus turned water into wine, they'd turn it into a mirror just to check out how holy they look sipping it. And here's their favorite trick: control. They'll use guilt, fear, and shame like tools in a carpenter's belt. Miss a service? Clearly you don't love God enough. Struggling with doubt? That's just proof your faith isn't real. Disagree with them? Touch not God's anointed. Translation: shut up and obey. But here's the thing. Christian narcissists don't represent God. They represent their ego dressed up in a choir robe. They talk about humility, but crave power. They preach about sin, but excuse their own. They'll step on anyone just to stay on top of the religious pyramid. And the damage they cause? It's real. People leave church feeling like failures. Families split under the weight of impossible standards. God starts to look less like a loving father and more like a cosmic cop with anger issues. But listen close. That isn't God. That's the gospel according to Narcissus. The true God, the one revealed in Jesus, is not a control freak, not a tyrant, not a spiritual scorekeeper waiting to smack you down. He is love. He is grace. He is freedom. So, if you want to know if you're dealing with a Christian narcissist, here's the first clue. When their version of God makes you feel smaller, weaker, and unloved, you're not looking at God. You're staring at their reflection. Chapter 2. Traits of a Christian narcissist. Christian narcissists are masters of disguise. On the surface, they look like Bible-loving saints, but underneath the robe is just an ego in a halo. They flex their holier-than-thou syndrome. Always one prayer longer, one fast harder, one step ahead of you. They're guilt trip gurus, quick to shame you for missing church, scold you for not giving enough, or glare if you dare choose Netflix over Bible study. They're scripture twisters, firing verses like bullets, and gaslighters who make you doubt your own walk with God until you depend on them for every breath. Their lives drip with hypocrisy, preaching fire while living in smoke, and they're spotlight magnets, turning even potlucks into their stage. And here's the danger. For them, this isn't a slip-up. it's a lifestyle. When you mistake them for God, guilt replaces grace, fear replaces love, and suddenly the Almighty looks suspiciously like the one holding the microphone.